You know what's wrong, and that's the problem. Most people don't suffer because they don't know what's wrong. They suffer because they do. Very clearly, often in impressive detail, they can name it, explain it, connect it to childhood, work, timing, relationships, sometimes better than the people around them. They know exactly what's going on. And somehow, nothing changes. That's not ignorance, that's something else. And yes, that's what this video is about. Look, there is a specific kind of person this happens to. Not careless people, not people who just don't see it, but reflective people, thinking people, people who notice patterns in themselves, people who say things like, I know why I do this, I know where this comes from, I know what needs to change, usually right before doing nothing. They're still here, still explaining it slightly better every year, still waiting for the moment where knowing finally turns into movement. It rarely does. Because understanding feels like progress. It sounds responsible, it looks mature, it even feels like you're doing something. You're not avoiding the problem, you're working on it, and that's very comforting. As long as you understand the problem, it stays theoretical. You can look at it, turn it around, talk about it with nuance, without touching it. Insight lets you stand right next to change without actually stepping into it. Notice how this usually sounds in your own head. You don't say, I'm avoiding this. You say, I'm processing it. You don't say, I'm scared of the consequences. You say, I need a bit more clarity. You don't say, I don't want to deal with this yet. You say, I'm not there yet. Understanding gives you language, and language is comfortable. It turns friction into explanation, risk into theory, exposure into insight. Very elegant, very safe. Here's the part that's slightly less flattering. Knowing what's wrong can become a way to stay in control. If you understand the pattern, you're not surprised by it. If you can explain it, you don't have to face it yet. If you know the story, your identity stays nice and intact. Nothing forces a decision. As long as it's something you're aware of, nothing is final. There is a cost to that, just not the one people usually talk about. It's not productivity, it's not wasted time, it's not missed potential. The real cost is quieter. Understanding slowly replaces responsibility. You feel like you've acknowledged the problem, so it feels unfair when life asks for more. You've already been honest, already reflected, already owned it, at least verbally, and words are much lighter than actions. This is why advice rarely lands, because honestly, you don't need more insight. You already have plenty. What you're avoiding isn't ignorance. It's exposure, the moment where things stop being theoretical and start having consequences, where someone else can see it, react to it, maybe be disappointed, maybe see you differently. Understanding protects you from that moment. There's another layer under this, a quieter one. When you understand a problem very well, you also protect the version of yourself that exists before change. You don't have to find out who you'd be without this pattern, without this explanation, without this carefully constructed story. Stories are stable, change is not. That's why intelligent people often struggle the longest, not because they're blind, but because they're, very good at explaining why today is not the day yet. They can describe their hesitation perfectly, which slowly becomes the hesitation. They don't resist change by denying it. They resist it by understanding it extremely well. So maybe the real question isn't, do I understand what's wrong? You probably do. Maybe the question is simpler, and honestly more uncomfortable. What are you protecting by understanding this so well? What moment are you postponing by keeping it theoretical? What would become real the second you stopped explaining and let yourself be exposed to the outcome? Some problems don't disappear when you finally understand them. They disappear when understanding stops being a place to hide.